And now let's take some attendance. And okay, Caden. Don't see Caden. Zach?
Yep.
All right. Anthony.
Here.
Anthony has his own logo. Mary, I saw. Aiden, I saw. Jez. Jez. Okay.
Hello.
You're not Jez.
No, I
But-
just said hello. I just came in.
Yep. Hello, nonetheless. It's nice to see you. I'm not. I for some reason I've lost a lot of color from my face. I'm just not feeling well. I don't know. And I have a difficulty now being out in the sunshine, and I just really want to go to the blood bank and not make a deposit, but a withdrawal. Okay. Lydia, we'll get to that in a minute. Can you remind me?
Yeah, I will.
Okay, thanks. All right, so what the? Wow, Zoom is just terrible UI. Okay, so let's see. So I saw Aiden and Jez is not here. Siobhan is not present. Noah is
Yep, I'm here.
good, thank you. And Elena, I saw. Joseph, I saw. Joseph, I saw. I saw both Josephs, right?
Yeah, we're both here.
Thank you. I saw Katie. I saw Lydia. I saw Vincent. I have not seen Brandon. Okay, I've seen Terry, and I think I saw Sam. Did I see Sam?
Right here.
Good, thanks. Joshua I saw, and Ethan I think I saw. Did I see him earlier today? There he is, down the corner. Yep. Okay, so once again, Caden, Jez, Siobhan, Brandon. Okay, so let me sign into Zybooks. And Lydia, could you repeat out loud which one you'd like to go over?
6.6.1.
6.6.1.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let me start sharing the screen too. Okay, 6.6.1. Okay, so function stubs. If you recall, a stub is the start of a function, or at least it's the declaration of a function, but it has no body. So you put the word pass in. And what you're saying is, I know I'm going to need this function, or I think pretty strongly I'm going to need this function, but I'm not ready to write it right now. Now, in addition, you can make use of that function, even though it's not really fully written yet. And this example gives you at least one technique. It would say print, fix me, finish the function with function name. And followed by a new line, and it could even have a return value. So that way you can continue developing your code. Oh, geez, everybody's picture turned black. There's like practically nobody left with a camera on. I feel sad, but I do see Brandon's iPhone. So let me mark Brandon's iPhone present. Stop the share. Oh, I have just had it with Zoom. It I keep moving the windows out of the way, and then every time I come back, they're in the way again. I just about had it. Brandon is here. Okay. So back to the share of the screen. And where is it? There it is. Okay. All right. So your solution goes here. All right, so boy, they want me to do two stubs. Why don't I just do one stub? Can't they be happy with one? All right, so here's get. This is bad style, by the way. I think I've told you that good style would be to have all functions begin with a capital letter, so that they're easy to tell apart from variables. So get user num. No, I only have to do one. Good. And let's see, print. Fix me. Finish. Get user num. And it should print a new line, which it will by default. And it also says return -1. All right, let's try it. Not all tests passed. Let's see. Oh, there's another one that I was supposed to do. So I am going to just copy this. I did need to do two. That's just busy work. Here's compute average and compute average. And now let's try it again. Not all tests pass. What did I do wrong this time? Oh, okay. So I was supposed to put in two parameters, P1 and P2. Doesn't matter what they're called because they could be local variables inside the function. Okay, anybody have any questions? Lydia, how did I do? Do you get it?
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Okay. Would anyone else like to review anything?
Yes, 6.13.2, please. Return number of pennies in total.
Okay, 6.13.
6.13.2.
So here, this chapter is starting to introduce you to some pretty sophisticated ways that Python can deal with parameters. You can give the parameters to a function out of order if you specify their names. And we'll see that, I'm sure we'll see that in a minute. And you can also skip certain parameters by giving them a default value. Okay, Vincent, which one would you like to do?
Let's see, 6.13.2.
Okay,
Yeah, that one.
all right. So write a function, number of pennies, bad style, should be a capital, start with a capital letter. Write a function, number of pennies, that returns a total number of pennies, given the number of dollars and optionally a number of pennies. Woo-hoo-hoo. So example, if you have 506, then output is 5 and 6. If you have $4, then the input is 4. What? Sample output with inputs 5, 6, and 4. Oh, I see what they're talking about. Yes, so this one is hoping that you will set a default value for the second argument. Watch this, Vince. So def number of pennies, and it's going to take 2 arguments. I can tell it takes 2 arguments right here. So 2 arguments, and I believe one is dollars, so D, and the other is pennies, but that has a default value of 0, Vince.
Okay.
Okay, so this will return D times 100 plus P. Let's see how close I got.
Return date.
Oh, I got pretty close. So the crux of this one was this setting up the default value. So notice I can call it in 2 ways. I can call it with both parameters, or I could call it with just the first parameter, because the second, if you leave it out, will have a default value of 0. So do you get that, Vince?
Let's see.
Anybody
Yeah.
else
Yeah.
have, is that good for everybody?
And then I have a question for 6.13.3, just
Yeah.
below here.
All right. So default parameters calculate splitting a check between the diners. Write split check function that returns the amount each diner must pay to cover the cost of the meal. The function has 4 parameters. Hide thumbnail video. Will you please go away? Thank you. All right. So the bill is the amount of the bill. People is the number of the people to split. Tax percentage, the extra percentage, and then the extra tip percentage to add to the bill. Oh, complicated. Okay. The tax or tip percentages are optional and might not be given when calling split check. The default, use default parameters of 15% for tip percentage and 9% for tax percentage. So now, given that we've done the last one, Vince, do you think you could try this one again on your own?
Actually, I still got the other one wrong, but it was exactly what you put it, but I don't know why it was missing.
All right,
have to-
compare yours to mine.
Well, let me just, oh, wait, hold on. Let's see what happened. Def number. Oh,
So I'd like to skip, I'd like to not answer this one because it really is the same, just with 2 defaults. Now, there's
Okay.
an important, okay, good. You got this one then, Vincent?
I gotta double check the other one that
Okay.
that's the one I have to
All
check.
right, but there is something that has to be said. Once you start entering default parameters, all the remaining parameters have to have defaults too.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Somebody else have a question? Is there anything anybody would like to review?
Hold on, I still got the other one wrong. I tried again. Can you go back a little bit for one more time?
Which one?
The
This one?
above right here. Yeah. What am I missing? Number
What
of
does the error
pennies.
say?
It says invalid syntax, but I have def number understory of understory pennies, parentheses D, comma, P equals 0, close parentheses, colon. And then return D. Then I had return D. Hold on, return D times 100 plus P. But actually, it's the one above that there's a problem here.
Okay, can you
Wait.
share your screen so we can get to this quickly?
Hold on. Never mind, I fixed it actually.
Good.
It was
Good.
just, sorry about that. It was just a minor, I just noticed it. Thank you.
All right, good.
All right, we're good now.
Okay. So if you remember, we in our last class started learning about reading CSV files. So to remind you, CSV stands for comma separated values. And on the left-hand side, you see a sample of a CSV file. They're written in text that you can read and you can edit. What makes them comma separated is the use of the comma to distinguish between the different fields in a row. Now, in general, the character used to split up the fields does not necessarily have to be a comma, but even if it's not a comma, the files are still called CSV. So that's the generic name for this type of data format. This data format is the most common format of data out there. Excel, the spreadsheet from Microsoft, and I would assume Google Sheets and Apple Numbers will all directly read and write CSV files. They're that common. Okay. Now, has anybody here, show of hands or emoji, have you seen CSV files in your discipline? Okay, Joe has, Sam has, Lydia has. Okay, and Noah has. Can you give me? Can you tell me where? What was the data holding?
I can't really narrow it down to any like single category because I'm majoring in data science. So we just saw CSVs on various types of topics.
So it was holding data.
Yeah, just data in general.
Yep. Okay, somebody else? Chemistry, biology, something like that? Okay, if you haven't yet, you will. All right. Over on the right-hand side, we've got a program. Let's review what the program's got in it. First, there's from sys import argv. And argv is going to be a list of strings. The list will never have a size of 0. It is always at least 1. So the size, the at least 1 means that at the very least, there'll be the name of the program being run. So let me make a change here to just print argv at index 0. And that's safe to do because there's always an argv 0. Oh, I just remembered I was supposed to look something up for you folks and I didn't do it. I apologize. I promise to forget again. Okay, so notice that first underscore CSV.py was printed by this line number 16. So argv sub 0 is always the name of the program that's executing. Okay. Okay, but beyond that, beyond the argv sub 0, you have to check first to make sure there is an argument at the index that you're specifying here, index 1. So this if statement makes sure that argv sub 1 is well defined. Got it? Okay. So read CSV, import CSV. So I'm handing it a file name. I'm opening the file name. The open file, assuming it does open, is called FILE. So now I'm going to wrap FILE in a CSV reader. So what that means is I am passing file, FILE, to CSV reader, and it's going to return to me another variable. So if I access reader, I'm indirectly accessing the file. But I'm going through the CSV code in order to get to the data. Okay? So for each row in the reader, so here's one, here's another, here's a third. For every line in the reader, for every row in the reader, I admonished you very strongly that if you're going to work with arbitrary data, you have to pass the data through a sniff test, okay? You gotta sniff this data to make sure that it meets your expectations with respect to the format of the data. Okay, so another example here, in this example, I'm expecting rows to have 3 data items in them. So 2 commas and 3 data items. Line 3 of the data does not include a 3rd item. So I don't want to process it. Line 9 makes sure that the number of elements, the number of data items in the line is what I expect it to be. And if it's not what I expect it to be, I'm going to skip it with the continue. Okay. Then, once I have vetted the data, I'm happy with the row. Once I get to line 11, you can access the individual data fields with indices, index 0, index 1, etc. Does anybody have any questions about this code? Okay, very good. Not seeing any. All right, so let's move on then. Notice that line 1 of the data looks like headings. Often the data that you'll get in your discipline will have the first line having headings. Okay. So you might want to skip the first line. Let's see how we can do that. One way, maybe we can skip the first line even before we call the reader. So file dot, what do you think? I want to read one line. Okay, you see anything promising there?
Maybe read line?
Yes, that's right. So, whoops, read line. Yeah, so I want to sort of digest one line before I get to the reader. So let's see if that works. Okay, I forgot to give it the data. And look at that. It only printed this line. It skipped the header. Okay. Now I want to introduce one new idea here. Readline is actually trying to return that first line. So, I have no intention of using it. Now, another programmer might come along and look at your code and say, oh my, on line 6, he's not getting the data that he just read. Maybe she made a mistake. So to make it unambiguous, you can say underscore equals. So this syntax is going to eat the return value of readline, making it crystal clear you did not make a mistake. So it's going to eat it and throw it away. Okay.
Wait, what part of it does it eat?
So readline is going to return the string of this whole first line.
Right.
So another programmer might come here and think, oh, maybe the original programmer made a mistake because they're not interpreting the first line. They're skipping the first line. Yeah, actually, folks, another way of handling this, actually, just do it both ways. First line is assumed to hold headings. Skip it. See? Now a future programmer, even yourself coming back to your code later, now you know what's going on. Sam, does that do it for you?
Yeah, it does. And for notes, typically in most code, do notes go above what is being referred to or below? I just want to know for writing, comments in the future.
Okay, so go backwards in time, and before you ask the question, the answer is the comment comes before.
All right, sounds good.
Good, right. All right, so typically you're going to describe what's about to happen, except the following. The following is a good practice also. You can say something referring to the past, like, when we get here, the first line has been skipped. So notice it's calling out the fact that I'm referring to the past.
I get you.
Okay. Now, the next thing I want to say about commenting, I want to say two things about commenting, which means I want to say three things about commenting. First, comments are super important. They help you and they help the person who reads your code in 6 months, which might be you. Okay. So comments, second thing, so commenting is good. Second thing, you should describe what you're thinking about, perhaps not what you're doing. So this comment kind of does both. The first line is assumed to hold headings. We want to skip it. Okay, so I was thinking about skipping the first line, and I documented. But let me give you a good example. Suppose you had Python that said I equals 0. This is a terrible comment. Okay, because anyone who knows how to read Python knows that's what you did. So it would be, so there's a case where you commented what you did, not what you were thinking about. So Okay. You might say, because. Now I'm really talking about what's in my mind. What's in my mind as I'm coding this, so that 6 months from now, when I come back to this code, I more quickly get back into the zone of writing this code and understanding this code. Okay? Anybody have questions? Hector, come here. If I give you a potato chip, will you shut up? All right, go away. There's a potato chip. Knock yourself out.
I heard that crunch.
Yep. All right. And then lastly, what was I going to say about commenting? Oh, this is going to sound weird. But very often, the best time to write the comment is before you write the code. What? But you're commenting the code. So how can you write the comments before the code? Okay,
Were you
that's the whole.
talking
What?
to, were you talking to us or the Python?
I was speaking rhetorically.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yes, I was speaking to you and out loud. Okay, so the best time, often the best time to write the comments is before you write the code, which seems counterintuitive because isn't the comment supposed to document the code? Well, that was the whole point of my previous point, where is you want to comment what you're thinking about, not actually what you're doing. Okay, so if you're not just commenting the code, you're commenting your thought process. And by writing the comments before you write the code, you're working through your thoughts, getting your thoughts straight. And after your thoughts are straight, writing the code will be straightforward. Okay? Can I have an amen?
Amen.
Okay, so all the other black boxes that have no reactions, I can assume that no one is actually at the computer. I said,
Amen.
can I have an amen?
Amen.
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 All right. Okay. All right, so this was a review of CSV. I'd like to show you a different way of reading the a CSV file. This time we're going to make use of the headings. We're not going to skip them. So CSV gives us a different kind of wrapper. And this time, is somebody about to ask a question? Okay, so I can't remember if it's a capital D or a lowercase d, so I'll hit period, and it's a capital D. Okay, so a dict reader. Okay, so keep in mind that when we were using a reader, we said row in reader, and that was going to be a list. So the clue here is that now we're going to get back a dictionary. So just to make sure I'm driving home the point, I'll call this a D row. And a D row. And I'm going to call this a D row and a D row and a D row. And by the way, this code should fail because I'm not finished showing you how a dict reader works. Okay, so let's try this. And it failed. And notice what it's saying. It's saying a key error. Huh. A key error. Oh, wait, yeah. Keys are found in dictionaries. All right. So let's say instead of an index, I'll put in what I think might be a key. How about first name? And instead of a number 1, I'll put in string last name. Whoops, spelled it wrong. And for the last one, I'll put in DOB. Let's try the code again. Let's see.
I think you might be
Okay.
using different quotations or something, or does that not apply?
No, I've got all the correct quotations.
Sure.
What I did wrong is I'm now incorrectly filtering out this line. So what's happening is this one on line 3 of the data, this one is missing. So if it's missing, then it's a none type. I'll show you how to handle that. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. If DOB in drow dot keys, not in, then skip it. Whoops. Let's see. What is keys? What is keys? Keys is a function. Okay, let me try put that in there. And I'm still failing. So maybe my assumption is wrong. The none type, it's gotta be the DOB. All right. Okay, well, for now, I'll just put in a date of birth and I'll fix it in the next class. I don't want to take more time. And this will also test to see if we got it right. Yeah, okay. So that was the problem, is this key was missing and therefore was showing up badly. Okay, good. Now, let me discuss the virtue of a dict reader versus a non-dict reader. So the virtue is, look at the order. First name, then last name, then date of birth. Now, the first set of code that I had, which was using the sub 0, sub 1, sub 2. Well, first of all, it's 6 months later, and I don't remember what sub 0 is, and sub 1 is, and sub 2 is. I don't remember. But if I look at the dict reader, okay, first name is first name. I know what that is. It's unambiguous. So that's one virtue, that there's more information when you use the keys. You get more information. So it's easier to understand. There are no magic numbers. But there's another virtue, and this one's really key. if there's one thing you can count on with CSV files, is that you write great code, assuming a structure of the CSV, and then some banana comes along and decides that the right ordering should be this. So all of a sudden, your data is coming in a new format, and your code no longer works if you're using sub 0, sub 1, sub 2, right? But using the dict reader, it's still going to come out right. So let me save the data and let me run this again. Notice it's still in the order of first name, last name, birthday. So I do encourage you to use dict readers rather than readers. The exception to this is if, for instance, your data doesn't have headings. If there's no headings, then you can't use a dict reader. Oh, okay, wait a minute. Not in row keys. Or. Oh, I'm going to get myself in trouble again. Is that going to work? Let me take out. Well, that's really going to screw me up. I just wanted to see if I could quick fix what I had wrong before. So this is what the data looked like prior to my last example. Let's just see if I fixed it. I think I haven't fixed it. Yeah, okay. All right, never mind. I will figure this out and get back to you. Whoops, where'd that come from? So somebody added that piece of code. Let's see if it adds it again. Nope, okay. All right, so never mind. I thought I could fix it. I had an inspiration. My inspiration proved to be incorrect. All right, so questions. Dict reader versus reader. What are the virtues of the dict reader?
Makes your code easier to read when you look at it at some point down the line.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. Okay, and also it makes your code more resilient to some banana changing your data format. Okay, so for instance, this comes up for me all the time because as the chair of the computer science department, I get reports from the campus telling me who the majors and minors are. And from time to time, they change the format of the file. And I've written programs to process those files that tell me all sorts of useful information. You know, it's probably about 300, 400, 500 lines of code. And every time they change the format of the file, that causes me problems until I started using the dict reader. Now what they do is they change the headings. So, you know, 1 month it'll be DOB and the next month it'll say date of birth. It's like, stop it, just stop it, stop it. But they don't listen to me. So. Okay, and when you get out in the field, it'll happen to you too. Better yet, and this is the last I'll say on the subject, better yet, work to get ahead and be in the position where you're the one changing the data files and let somebody else have the problem of changing their code. So there you go. Do unto others as they would have done unto you. All right. So does anybody have any questions about what we've gone over? Okay. Do you feel confident enough with CSV files to start using them in projects? I'm hoping to see more than one favorable reaction. Okay.
I feel confident enough.
All right. Yeah. Now let's take a look at Zybooks, because there is a discussion, I hope. Is it, no, not there. Files. Ah, okay, very good. So if you recall, in the beginning of the term, let me share my screen. Share. It's nice to share. So we talked about that we were going to definitely do 1 through 8, chapters 1 through 8, and then a little bit of chapter 12, right? So
Okay.
here's 12, and here's where comma separated values are in the Zybooks, okay? So when I assign the next project, which will be shortly, since I wanted to use CSV files, if you need a little review, you can consult this video or the previous video or Zybooks 12.7. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at this code right here, because it looks a little bit different than what I did. So I just did I did file equals open. So there's a few differences here. This is a different syntax. Notice it says with open file name. Let's forget about this for a moment. As CSV file. The benefit of doing it this way is, notice there's no close. So if you do it this way, as soon as this code block exits, and you can see there's a colon, so with starts a code block. As soon as that code block exits, the file gets automatically closed. So that's the virtue of doing it this way. The way that I did it in the demos that I've done, I had to close the file manually. Which one you choose is up to you. Second difference is comma and then a single quote R. Now, what this is doing is opening the file for reading. And as it turns out, if you leave this out completely, it still opens the file for reading. So opening the file for reading is default. Let's see, is there anything else different? Ah, yes, here's another optional parameter that we were using the default value of. So here is passing the file to the reader. So here's making the reader out of the file. But then there's, in their code, there's another delimiter equals and then a single character. In this case, a comma. Now, I didn't do that. but I knew that the default for the delimiter is a comma. So if you recall at the beginning, when I talked about CSV, I said, it's called a CSV file, even if the delimiter, that separates the fields is not a comma. If it's a tab, it's still called CSV. So what you would do here is if you wanted to process tab separated fields, you'd put a tab character here. Okay? And those are the differences that I can spot. All right. So we can end here, and I'll see you on Friday, and Thursday I will put a new project online. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. With that, let's see, is Joe Monig still here? Joe, can you camera on?
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, Joe. Just a reminder, you need to make an appointment for advising.
I was actually just about, I messaged you in Zoom and then I was about to send you an email about that.
Oh, okay. Then yes, I'll hang on, and I'm going to stop recording now, and I have to stop the share, and then I can stop the recording.